Hello everyone, welcome back to Witchinary. If you have yet to subscribe to this channel, then please do so because we are getting crafty. And today I caved. I got the June 2020 Simon Says Stamp card kit, Beautiful Butterflies. And I got this kit because the world is falling apart and I am stressed the F out. So boom, bada bing, bada boom, we are going to be playing with some butterflies. I like butterflies. I love what they symbolize. They are a symbol of transformation, and if that does not speak to the current state of affairs, I don't know what does. So I decided to get this kit. I thought it was very appropriate with the protests and Pride Month and all of that jazz. So yeah, I just really wanted to get my hands on it. I wanted to play with it. I literally have a few more ideas for it, but I don't have the time to execute those. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about it. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's jump right in. For my first card, I wanted to make a long card. Now, if you're new around here, hey, hi, how you doing? I'm bad at measuring. So if you're bad at measuring like me, then you probably have learned ways to deal with that, and the way I deal with it is that I take a long envelope, or at least the envelope I'm going to be using to, you know, ship out my card, and then I just make lines and cut around it. So yeah, that's kind of how I measured this thing. It was a nice little eyeball. For my card panel, I'm going to be using some Strathmore watercolor ink because I wanted to do some ink blending. The distress inks that I will be using today are Wilted Violet, Salty Ocean, and Mustard Seed. And the distress oxide inks that I will be using today are the Scattered Straw, Worn Lipstick, Cracked Pistachio, and Tumbled Glass inks. Once I'm done ink blending that to satisfaction, I'm just gonna splash some water on it. I definitely want this water to lift up some of that ink and give me some nice splatter effects. And then I'm gonna take out my Fine Tech watercolor pearlescent ink and I'm just gonna splatter some gold. I love gold. I love this particular gold. I think it's called Aztec gold. It just brings this liveliness to a card. And this is already a beautiful rainbow. I definitely wanted to go balls to the wall with like the vibrancy. I wanted this card to literally be a punch to the face, but like a smiley punch to the face. Like one that's gonna make you super happy to get in the mail. So that was the aesthetic we were going for. From my stash, I took out a piece of vellum, and I'm just going to be heat embossing that with some Hero Arts Puffy White embossing powder. You could definitely use some regular embossing powder. I just wanted to use the chunky stuff because I wanted my butterflies to have a little bit more texture and a little bit more weight to them. So yeah, but feel free to use whatever you have in your stash. I know we all broke. Well, I don't know if we're all are broke right now. I'm broke. I'm just gonna assume we all could use some money. So like yeah. Whatever you have in your stash, go for it. Once I'm done cutting those out, I go into my paper pack and I find this beautiful butterfly rainbow card stock or pattern paper, and I decide to use that for this long card. I decided to put it on the center just because I thought that would definitely balance out some of that rainbow, give it a little bit of pattern to the colors in the background but still stay true to that rainbow. Then I took my multimedia mat and I adhered those butterflies down to my card. Next, from my stash, I pulled out my mini Misty and I took out the sentiment that says just a little note, and I'm just going to ink that up using some Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink right on the center. Could I plan this out a little bit better? Yeah, but I like how it turned out. I'm then going to raise all of that hard work up onto my card base using some foam tape, and then I'm going to use my Studio Katia Crystal Infusion Sequins just to add a little bit more bling and a little bit more sparkle to this already super dope card. My rule of thumb for sequins is if it's on my craft desk, it's fair game. You are not getting hoarded, darling. You're getting used today. So that's kind of why I'm using this rainbow sequin mix. It really wasn't planned, but it was a happy accident, as Bob Ross would say. Once I'm done adhering those, I decided to decorate the inside of my card with the same Distress Oxide inks that I used on the outside, and then I just added the sentiment "Thinking of You" to the center. And that just about wraps up this card. Once I was done with the card, I figured it was way too pretty to just keep as a long card, so I challenged myself to make the A2 size version of it. Literally the same thing, just a different sentiment in the center. And I had quite a few of those vellum butterflies left over, so I was like, you know what, we're just gonna use these for almost every card. And yeah, literally the same process all over again, different sentiment. And I love to do this, honestly. I love to challenge myself to make a long design and a short design that are similar. I don't know, it just gets the brain flowing on how to use that space creatively. For my next card, I was very inspired by the colors of the card kit, with the exception of the lavender. I definitely love the color combination of yellow, gray, and black. So here I will be using the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink, some fossilized amber distress oxide ink, and the Hero Arts Soft Granite inks. If you don't have gray ink, let me throw it back to like when I was super broke and did not think about buying this cute little ink cube. I just used some second generation stamping, so just stamp down that black butterfly first and then immediately after go back in stamping it again, and it'll give you this beautiful gray color. So that's kind of just my way around that, you know, in case you need it, but boom. I adhered this down to a lemon yellow card base, and I used some of that pattern paper in the back just to try to give a little bit more color to this, and then of course I adhered some of those vellum butterflies that I had left over. For my sentiment, I go ahead and I heat emboss Beautiful Friend and then just fuzzy cut that out, and I kind of wish I would have used a little bit better of, you know, like a white embossing powder, like a fine detail one, because this one came out a little chunky and it wasn't my intention, but you know what? Hindsight is 20/20, right? Anyway, I raised that sentiment up with some foam with a little bit of foam tape, and then I just go ahead and decorate the inside of my card a la Amy R, because she's fabulous and fierce and fly, and I just emulate her style sometimes. Once I was done doing all of that, I just added a few sequins, and I did go ahead and make a long version of this card because I just thought it was so pretty and so versatile and so easy to make that why not? But yeah, here are my finished results, and I hope you like. For my next cards, I definitely just wanted to use the pattern paper. I definitely think sometimes I could use the pattern paper a lot more, but I definitely don't. When I get pattern paper, some of my favorite to use are the ones that have like these really big headers, like Celebrate Today. There's another one that I use later on. Like, I definitely love to use those because they save time. And I don't know about you, but like, I got other things to worry about. I don't got time to be making some super lengthy, very tedious cards. Completely ignore the first half of this video so I can qualify that statement. Thank you guys. Anyway, I stamped down Friend using my mini Misty just because I wanted to get a really dope and clear impression on the top of my card panel. And then I just go ahead and I start stamping down some of these butterflies directly onto that paper. I raise this up using some foam tape because I do love my cards to be nice and hefty, and then I go ahead and adhere that down to my card base. It is a little crooked. We're gonna have to ignore that. Again, straight lines and me, we don't get along. I stamped down a sentiment to the center of this card, which could honestly be any one of these beautiful sentiments. I just decided to go with each day is a new start, and then I'm going to, of course, decorate the inside of this card with a few more butterflies because these butterflies are amazing, and that finished up this card. For my last card, again, I saw this Never Stop Dreaming and I was like, yo, quick card, let's do this, but like let's deck it out so that way it looks super great. Yeah, so I go ahead and I take my paper trimmer and I try to get this down to the size of an A2 size card, and then I go ahead and I start stamping down some of those butterflies again, and I try to do it around this cute little colorful butterfly in the center because I wanted that one to kind of stick out a little bit. And I'm just going in with black ink just to balance out some of these muted colors that were on the actual paper. And then next I took the Tim Holtz Sentiments and I decided to just add a few around the sentiment already just to kind of add more interest. And for this one I had my sweetheart, never stop dreaming, and then the second one that I used I believe said something like she whispered as she looked up at the stars. It was something super cute like that, but anyway. I take the last bit of my little vellum butterflies and I adhere those to this card panel just to give it a little bit more pizzazz. I probably could have done a little bit more, but like I felt like this was enough. I definitely felt like I was doing a lot. Maybe I could have rounded out the corners to this, I'm not really sure. But anyway, I take some foam tape and of course I adhere that down to my card base made from the gray cardstock that came in this card kit. And then I go ahead and I used my Scattered Straw Distress Oxide ink to decorate the inside of my card with some yellow butterflies because I absolutely love the way that Distress Oxide shows up on dark cardstock. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's natural, you know, just, maybe it's not natural, like it's not snatched and natural, but whatever, you get what I'm trying to say, right? I added a few sequins to this and then I added a sentiment on the inside of this card and that wraps up this card. Well guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you guys had a great time. If you like what you saw, definitely don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Take care guys, until next time, bye.